What is going on, guys? We got another day in the books. 49ers practice. You know the vibes. It was another fantastic day of football. Beautiful weather, beautiful stadium in the background. It just was another good time at 49ers practice down at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Um, you might notice my background is a little different. My guy Jordan Elliott has taken me in and allowed me to use his office so we could get this thing going. So a little bit different setup based on what we've typically had in the past. Hey, I might even be crystal clear right now. So that's even a good change. But basically, let's get right into it because we have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, the 49ers hit the practice field again. All eyes are on the quarterback. And of course, you know the drill. We get to the quarterback at the end. Let's go through some of the administrative stuff. So someone that wasn't on the field today, Nick Bosa. Bosa wasn't on the field. But as we know, he's been taking scheduled rest days and doing things like that. So that's understandable. We were anticipating that. It's not a big deal. From all accounts, Bosa is going to miss about every third practice just to ensure that the team gets him game ready and gets him actually to week one without any setbacks. So not a big deal, but what was really cool is we got to see D Ford inserted into the defensive starting lineup as a result. So with Bosa out, D Ford came in. You still had Eric Armstead on the opposite side, and then you had the typical interior defensive lineman that we've had the last couple days at practice. Again, we got to see up close. Oh, Jason, my Jason, the GOAT. Make sure you follow Jason. That's the tag right there. Go follow that page right now. That's the boy. Shout out Jason. Jason's here too. He's actually right in the other room. But one of the really cool things again that we got to see is we get to see the blitz pickup install. So we're getting to see this defense installed right in front of our eyes. And the biggest takeaways from that is that this is not going to look like the 2019 defense that we saw go to the Super Bowl. It is going to have many different looks. It's going to have a bunch of different blitzes. They're still going to the way they are attacking these gaps, bringing 4, 5, 6. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun, and I think you guys are going to be really excited to see what that looks like when the games come around. So it's going to be a good time. When we got into one-on-ones today was a shorter practice, but once we got into one-on-ones, one of the first players to make a play was Tavon Wilson. He had a really nice pass breakup against Kittle in one-on-ones. This is the second time over the last 3 days that Tavon Wilson has had a really nice pass breakup on George Kittle. By all accounts, Tavon Wilson is earning so far the starting job. Obviously, Jaquiski Tartt is waiting in the wings as he is waiting to get out of the COVID protocol. So as we wait for that, Tavon Wilson is actually taking a step. Of course, the 49ers had signed Jefferson to play safety as well prior to camp. But as of right now, it's Tavon Wilson's job. So it's going to be really exciting and interesting to see what happens when Tartt comes back and see what that competition looks like. Because at first we were feeling a little questionable about the depth at the position, but with seeing how Tavon Wilson has responded in practice as of late, we feel pretty confident with that depth at the position. Kittle had a really nice one-on-one. He had a really nice one-on-one against Hufanga. He routed him off the line and just really got Hufanga all twisted up. And then Hufanga was able to recover and get in position, but the quarterback threw it up and Kittle went up and high-pointed it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Trey Sermon continuing to stand out as a route runner, as a pass catcher, just a runner between the tackles. Trey Sermon looks great. Jordan Matthews looks really good, man. He looks really good as a tight end. He still has those same receiving skills. as a wide receiver, but now he's just playing the tight end position, and he's doing really well against linebackers and safeties. It's a good matchup for him. Ambry Thomas even had a pass breakup in one-on-ones with Brandon Ayuk. That was on the far field, so it's really hard to get a good look at it, but we did see that he was able to get in there and break that thing up. So that was kind of how practice started today with one-on-ones. But one of the things that I've, of course, been watching and continue to watch is the offensive line. And we got a shakeup today. We got a shakeup on the offensive line. Really wasn't anticipating it coming in because, as we've talked about, or at least the starting line up until this point has been Trent Williams, left tackle, Laken Tomlinson, left guard, Alex Mack, center. Right guard has been Daniel Brunskill, with Aaron Banks not taking any first-team reps at right guard, even though he's been playing right guard primarily, and then at right tackle, Mike McGlinchey. Today, we saw a completely different lineup. We saw a completely different lineup today. We saw Colton McKivitz primarily with the starting unit today at right guard. No Brunskill, no Aaron Banks. Again, Colton McKivitz, I believe, was a 5th or 6th round 2 years ago. He had been playing left tackle with the second unit up until this point. So they shift him down to right guard in place of Brunskill. Brunskill goes to second team center, which was interesting. So I don't know necessarily if that was because Kyle Shanahan wanted to get a better quality center for Trey in the second team, because I know Jake Brendel has been struggling a bit, who has been the second team center up so far. He has been struggling a bit. So I don't know if that was maybe a preemptive move to help Trey with the second unit, or if that is indicative of Brunskill, because from everything that we've seen, Brunskill has been this typical self. He is moving well, doing those kinds of things. Still gets pushed back a little bit in some instances, but for the most part does his job and is doing what he's supposed to do. So that was an interesting development today, and we'll see what comes of that and what the offensive line looks like when this thing's all said and done. Aaron Banks, when he came up with the second team, his very first rep of the day was a false start. Other than that, it was really hard to get a solid look at the offensive line because they were on the far field today. They were way far away, so we tried our hardest to watch that, but we took the opportunity to watch more of the skill players today. In team, Tavon Wilson almost had a interception that for a pass intended for Ross Dwelly. He basically had the INT, he just dropped it. Sudfeld finding Sherfield. Sherfield continues to stand out in practice. He looks like the lock to win the wide receiver 3 position. I know all the early hype has been about Sanu, but what we're seeing in practice, what we're seeing live, is it really appears that Trent Sherfield is taking that next step up. He's winning with his routes. He's winning. He's great contested catch ability. He's making all the tough catches in traffic. He's doing everything that you want to see out of a slot receiver. And he seems to have a good relationship with both Jimmy and Trey. So Sherfield's stock is definitely going up right now. He seems like he will make the team. Considering how he's been performing on top of what he has been doing with the first and second units, I feel pretty confident about him. Let's see, what else did we get? Ayuk again had some good catches. Hufanga had some pretty good good defensive play and team on Kittle. McKivitz, I watched McKivitz a little bit. McKivitz had a really good block on Eric Armstead in a pass set situation. Basically just stonewalled him, which I think is a big reason why they moved him over to right guard, just just to try to hold the line of scrimmage a little bit better. So far, from what I've seen from Brunskill and Banks, is they have a tendency to get pushed back just a little bit. So that was nice to see out of McKivitz to really be able to hold his ground, stay stout at the line of scrimmage, and be able to do all that good stuff. But for the most part, it was a really short practice. Yesterday was definitely the action-packed practice. The vibe was high. There was a ton of senior reporters from across the league there yesterday. We had the Stanford head coach there yesterday, guys like Mike Silver. So yesterday was a pretty big day, and I really think that Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch really kind of put on a show for everyone, and they really kind of wanted to showcase Trey Lance yesterday, and that's exactly what they did. And the beauty of that is that translated in today. So being the second day of pads, we wanted to see the consistency. We wanted to see, was that just one good day? Can he stack 2 good days? Because again, on Monday when when they were not in pads, everything that I was seeing was a little bit of up and down. Like I had talked about on previous episodes, was Trey and Jimmy looked pretty even on Monday without pads. They both made interceptions. They both made questionable throws. They both made good throws. So at the end of the day, when I walked away on Monday, I was like, oh, that's about even. Based on today's practice, it felt even. That was Monday. Tuesday, Trey, hands down, far and away the better quarterback yesterday. And then today, best quarterback on the field. So we're headed down that path, guys. We're headed down that path to the point where it doesn't matter if you're a player, a coach, a fan in the stands, a team employee, or whatever. If you're watching practice and you're watching these guys compete and you're watching them go after it, you see it. You see who is ascending. The offense looks completely different with Trey Lance. What they're doing was zone read. Jason even spotted it. He spotted them working like option and pitch off the zone read, because that's the beauty of the zone read, is you can run so many different variations off the zone read, including pitch and different kinds of things with a quarterback who can run. They started implementing some of that off in the install period. Like I said, Jason spotted that. It was a good eye by him. But they're doing things with this offense that is making Trey Lance look exceptional that Jimmy Garoppolo can't do. It doesn't fit his skill set. Jimmy Garoppolo isn't running zone reads to keep the ball. He's not doing it to tuck it and run. So that's the difference. And we're seeing what is happening with the offense when you're adding the zone read, and it's completely opening up everything. One of the things that was interesting to watch from yesterday to today, yesterday, Trey Lance, it felt like, was getting loose any chance he could. Any chance they're running zone read, he was tucking it and going, and he was getting yards. One of the favorite things about him is he runs like a running back. And when I say that, he sets up blockers. When he sees guys in front of him blocking for him, he knows how to generate the right leverage behind his blocker to suck up the defender straight into the blocker, essentially helping his guys. So that's a really positive about his ability to run. But it's everything. And today, how that changed is it seemed like the defense was keen on Trey. And so when I say that, they were trying to take away Trey running. And so what we saw today is we saw Trey handing it off more compared to yesterday, at least from what I've seen. And so that's how I took it, is the defense is trying to adjust. They're trying to make adjustments to Trey as well, because they're practicing. Again, my big focus is on the offense, has been all 3 days. So I'm starting to see from today's practice, the defense adjust. They're trying to take away Trey because Trey's gashing him. Trey is absolutely gashing him with the legs. And so I saw the defense today try to take that away. And so Trey was handing off the ball more. Again, what Trey did today was stack consistency. He had 3 plays in a row that were unbelievable. Just everything that you you want to see. I'm trying to think. One of them to George Kittle was really nice. I really liked it. He ended up on the right. He ended up rolling outside to the right of the pocket, so he ended up more over McGlinchey rather than standing in the middle of the pocket. So he's a little bit outside. That allowed the defensive end to kind of take more of a clear shot at him. So when Trey Lance gets out and he sets up to read and sets his feet to throw, he took a little basically stepped back about 2 feet back into the pocket to avoid the rusher and then just ripped it. The whole time, eyes did not move downfield. It was one of those things where you talk about pocket awareness with quarterbacks, you talk about how they feel pressure, not seeing pressure, feeling pressure. And that's exactly what he did. And that's what you want quarterbacks to do. You don't want quarterbacks to be worried about the rush. You want them to feel it naturally. So when Trey rolled out to the right, set up, saw that he had a defender coming at him, almost like a free rush, he took a step back, again, setting up McGlinchey to take over the block, take away the angle the defender had, and he just threw it up. And it wasn't like a lob pass. It was a very intentional dart to Kittle, maybe 25, 30 yards down the field. The most impressive thing about it was Kittle was covered. If you want to really look at the whole situation, Kittle was covered. He had bracketed coverage. He had a safety over the top, and whoever the linebacker or slot defender who was covering was on both sides of him. He was bracketed. Bracket, he was bracketed. So a lot of quarterbacks don't make that throw. I appreciate you, Travis. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. A lot of quarterbacks don't make that throw because he's covered. He really is covered. But the confident quarterbacks, the quarterbacks that believe in their receivers' abilities, and they put those two abilities together, that's what we're seeing that we haven't seen in years from a 49ers quarterback. Jimmy has hit deep passes. Jimmy has hit balls down the sideline with touch, with accuracy. All of those things are true, absolutely. But some of the things that we haven't seen from Jimmy Garoppolo in the past is him taking chances. The 50-50 balls that the good quarterbacks throw, the back shoulder throws where you have a defender completely draped on a wide receiver like Brandon Ayuk, but you know your wide receiver is better than that DB. So you're just going to read the positioning of that defender and you're going to throw him open. The good quarterbacks do that. And that's what we are seeing from Trey Lance. And it's absolutely beautiful. He threw it right on the spot for George Kittle to turn around and go up and get it. And like I said, he was double coverage clamped. And he rose up in front of the safety and over the top of the linebacker and just snatched it. So that was one of the first plays. Another play, he hit Ross Dwelley streaking down the right sideline. Again, Ross Dwelley having a huge camp. Shout out Grant. He started that years ago. I'm officially on the Hive now. I put it on Twitter. It's official. I'm in the Hive now. So it's happening. Ross Dwelley looks really good. And Trey Lance found him just perfect pass. Again, it had some touch to it. There's a little arc on it. Some of the things with Trey sometimes, he throws it so damn hard sometimes. It just comes out on a rope. One of the things I really liked is there was some touch on it, a little bit of finesse on it. And he just dropped it right in the bucket to Dwelley. Dwelley goes streaking down the sideline for a solid 30, 40, 50. Like it was a good game. It's really hard to tell how much he really gained, but it was a good chunk of yardage. And then one of the other plays that I thought was really, really exciting. I'll get to this question right after this. Alyssa, thank you so much. The third throw, again, 3 in a row. He did these 3 in a row. This time he's rolling out to his left, and it was a drop back, and he escapes out to his left because he had pressure up the middle. So he escapes out to the left, and he's searching, reading the defense, waiting for a wide receiver to come open, and then on the far middle, he sees Brandon Ayuk cutting across, and I'm talking there's white jerseys everywhere. At least from my vantage point, I just see all these white jerseys, and then I see Trey throw against the grain, typically something that you don't want your quarterback to do. You don't want your quarterback going against the grain because that's when underneath defenders come and pick you off and do all those different kinds of things. So he throws against the grain and just finds Ayuk cutting through all these defenders, catch, perfect pass, potential first down. Again, it's hard to determine the depth of what was going on, but 3 plays in a row, and it was just like, what are we watching? Like, we're just like, this is insane. You know, these were like when we were discussing Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, all these different quarterbacks, Zach Wilson. What we were seeing or what we were talking about all offseason about having a quarterback who can win from the pocket, but also use his ability to enhance the game. The reason why we talked a lot about Fields, because he can do zone read as well. A lot of the similar things that we talked about with Fields, we are seeing it with Trey Lance. There's no question why Trey Lance was taken number 3 overall. Absolutely not. There's not one single question of to why he was. He was absolutely worthy of the pick. And today, again, he stacked 2 days together in pads, showing that he's capable of doing this and capable of being successful. So he also had another pass to Nasimba. I screw up his last name. I can't remember if it's Webster or not exactly. I just call him Nasimba. He had a really good catch, and he had coverage all over him. And this was in the red zone period. And essentially what Trey did, so it was a zone action. So again, remember, we're seeing zone action out of Trey Lance. We're not seeing that out of Jimmy. We're seeing that out of Trey Lance. So he does the zone action fake, right? You know, where they put the ball out in front of them and they do the little zone action. Did the little zone action, dropped back, and then just delivered a dart to the back corner of the end zone with a receiver, Nasimba, right? The guy that we picked up off the streets from the Rams. That guy with coverage draped all over him and put it in a spot where only his wide receiver could get it. And Nasimba made the catch, and it was a beautiful catch. Fantastic catch to get that ball and bring it in. But again, what is so beautiful about it is that these guys are covered. They are covered well. And we've seen instances in the past, whether it was any 49ers quarterback, they're not throwing to a covered guy. But we're seeing a guy that has that elite intangible, that elite trait, that he's so confident in his ability, he's just going to throw it. Because he knows the guys that he has, he's going to give them an opportunity to go get it. So Trey Lance today, 2 days in a row, Trey Lance has been the best quarterback at 49ers camp. There's no other way to put it. And it's not like Jimmy either really had a bad day today either. I think Jimmy had a pretty standard day. But therein lies the issue with this battle. Is Jimmy's having standard days, and Trey Lance, being a rookie, 21 years old, is doing things that Jimmy just physically can't do. And that aspect and that wrinkle in the offense changes Kyle's offense for the better. It changes everything that Kyle is trying to do to manipulate defenses, manipulate personnel packages and groupings. It's another wrinkle, another layer for Trey Lance to add to this offense. So it's pretty special to watch. I'll get to your question now, Alyssa. I just want to get that out. Who do you see as wide receiver 1, and does that differ for fantasy? No. So my wide receiver 1, I've been bullish on this. I've been bullish on this for probably a better part of 3-4 months. I really believe Brandon Ayuk is cemented as the wide receiver one for the San Francisco 49ers. He can do so many different things. And that's not to take away from Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is a fantastic wide receiver. He could be a number one wide receiver on a bunch of different teams. Of course, we know what Deebo can do behind the line of scrimmage. And he just hasn't really got a ton of opportunity making plays down the field because, again, we haven't had a quarterback who takes a ton of shots down the field or gives guys opportunity to make plays. So that being said, Deebo can actually absolutely come into his own. He could absolutely come on and be the wide receiver one for this team, but I'm pretty bullish on it being Brandon Ayuk. And in regards to your fantasy question, I back that up with my fantasy because I play dynasty fantasy football, which is year-round fantasy. You draft one team, about 30 players, and that's your team for years. And you trade you all year round. You draft rookies only from that point on, and you build your team like a GM. And my GM thing that I've been doing all off season is targeting Brandon Ayuk no matter what. For example, I traded DJ Moore, Panthers wide receiver. Again, he's gonna have a good year. DJ Moore for the Panthers. He's 23 years old. He's a ascending talent in a good offense with Matt Rule. But I traded him straight up for Ayuk, and the value probably leaned a little bit more. Like I had a little bit more value with Moore based on the perception of Ayuk right now, but I didn't care because that's how I truly believe it. I just wanted Ayuk. Give me Ayuk. So I just straight up DJ Moore for Ayuk. So what I've been talking about with Brandon Ayuk is I really think Brandon Ayuk can surpass 1,400 all-purpose yards. I absolutely think that's a range of outcome that can happen if he plays all 17 games. I think Brandon Ayuk can absolutely put over 1,400 all-purpose yards. He put up 748 in 12 games last year. That, I think, comes out to about 62 yards a game. If you just bump that up to 80 yards a game over 17 games, that's nearly 1,400 yards. So I really think that's a big possibility, a range of outcome that could happen, especially with a guy like Trey Lance. Especially with a guy who's going to get him the ball, give him opportunities to make plays, and get him the ball downfield. So Brandon Ayuk is my wide receiver one for the 49ers. He's one of my wide receiver ones in fantasy football. I am projecting Brandon Ayuk with Trey Lance to be a top 12 wide receiver from a production standpoint in the NFL this year. That's how highly I think of Brandon Ayuk. So hopefully that answers your question. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I really appreciate these donations, guys. You guys are awesome. I'm pretty sure I got this one up. I don't know why it's showing like I didn't. Shout out Travis again. So let's see. So after that, let's see, zone read. But I talked about how the defense was keying on Trey a little bit and taking away some of those zone read runs. Didn't stop Trey from scoring touchdowns on the zone read either. He had a rushing touchdown off a zone read. Again, defender crashed down. He just waited and waited and waited, and the last second pulled it and goes. Really, really special. What he can do, again, with his arm and then with his legs. It's really special. Gallman had a couple TDs today. He had a bounce back day, a little bit better than what he had yesterday. Still think it's Mostert and Trey Sermon are leaps and bounds above Gallman and Elijah, but both those guys show promise and show some ability. So honestly, again, it's a tough situation. It really is a tough situation for Jimmy. It really is watching it. I feel for Jimmy a little bit because he's clearly being outplayed. He's being outplayed by a 21-year-old who's like in his seventh practice in the NFL, and that's hard. That's really hard because I can't. God, I can imagine. Um, Another guy that deserves some credit though, Trent Sherfield. Trent Sherfield looks like a lock. Not only a lock to make the team, but he looks like the lock to be the wide receiver 3. So you're going to start hearing that name a lot, Trent Sherfield. You guys are going to get a healthy dose if you guys are going to be going to the open practice this Saturday at Levi Stadium. You're going to get a nice dosage of Trent Sherfield and really get to see how he works with these guys. He's really good out of the slot. He has great route running abilities, great hands. Really showing me some stuff. So excited, absolutely excited. Okay, Eddie asked this question. I think it's a good topic. Sorry if I don't think we haven't answered this question. Sorry if questions already asked, but if Trey playing against the ones on defense, if not, what are we all talking about? Again, you can scout someone's ability in a vacuum. Just because they're going up against twos doesn't make what they're doing any less special or any less, you know what I mean? Like, again, Kittle was covered. If he's playing twos, if he was playing against twos, it didn't matter. They had Kittle clamped. Kittle was clamped. And guess what? Trey Lance threw it up in a spot for George Kittle to come back and get the ball, and he did it. I don't care if you're going up against 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6, or 7s. If you have a person physically in front of you and physically behind you, and you still throw that ball, and you throw that ball with pinpoint accuracy on the dot, on point, I don't care. That translates. So, again, Kittle went up, snagged it, and got it. I know there's this narrative going around that it's against the twos. There's a way to preface this. What Trey Lance is doing translates to ones, translates to game time action. Again, when the lights come on in preseason, we'll have a really better understanding because it's game time. Practice is one thing. Practice is absolutely one thing. We'll see what happens when those lights come on, when the pressure is on, the cameras are on, everyone's talking about it. And that's when we'll really be able to take the evaluation of what Trey Lance is to the next level. But for now, for what he's doing, I don't care what team he's going against. What he is doing under the context, again, Nasimba Harry, or Nasimba, last name isn't Harry, but Nasimba, that's who he's throwing touchdowns to. So, and he's putting it in a spot where only Nasimba can get it. That translates. I don't care who is covering Nasimba. If you're putting a ball where only your offensive player can get it in the back corner of the end zone, where the window is about this big, and he fits it in there, again, doesn't matter who is covering him when you're throwing catches that no one can defend. So I understand this concept. So I'm trying to put it in a way where that's how well Trey Lance is playing. He's playing past any of that. Maybe if anything, if he was playing against the ones, we'll want to see what he's looking like over the middle, how he's reading Fred Warner, how he's reading Dre Greenlaw, doing all those kinds of things. So we'll take that next step in the evaluation once that comes. But as of right now, what he's done in 2 days, regardless of if Jimmy's running with the ones, because this is the thing, they've been running ones from a skill position standpoint all 3 days. Almost every time Trey Lance comes in, he comes in every third or fourth rep. And and when that occurs, there's Trey, there's Ayuk, but he's still playing against the second team offensive line. And then all of that stuff, you're seeing it translate to the field. And with how Trey is going and doing everything, it really is not much of an issue in my opinion. I think we'll get a good idea here in a second. Once we see Trey get to split with some of the ones and do some of those things. But for the most part, I don't really see that being an issue. He's playing that well. He really is playing that well. So that's something that I think that he'll be able to overcome, whether it's the ones, whether it's the twos, doesn't really matter. He's showing me he has an elite skill set. That's what he's showing. To kind of answer that question a little bit better, the skill set that Trey Lance has is really something special. And he's putting it on display every single day. He's done it 3 days in a row now. So again, it's the first step in his development. And he's taken everything in stride, and that is the point. Those are the things that need to be taken away from everything. I really don't care if it's first or second team. I don't. I start caring when obvious things are occurring and things that you should hit, you aren't hitting. Those are the issues. What he's doing translates against anyone. So that's what's really special, and we're going to see it soon. You guys are going to see it soon, up close and personal, if you haven't been to training camp. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Preseason is going to be a lot of fun. I don't think that the 49ers make any kind of drastic decision about who is starting and who's not starting before preseason week 1. I don't think we're looking at a situation where it's like, oh, Kyle Shanahan's about to announce, like Trey's won the job. I don't think that happens until preseason. Again, this is one step in the development. Next step, get this kid on a field in a game time situation against other NFL athletes that aren't his teammates, and let's see how that situation goes. See how he is in a simulated real NFL game. Then once that occurs and we still see those same things translating, such as accuracy, awareness, pocket awareness, the ability to run, make people miss, all those kinds of things. Once those start translating in preseason, then I think the conversation is going to be dramatically different than what we have now. I'm still curious. So Steve said, still curious how the offense would look if Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and Pitts. To be honest, with how I've been seeing, what I've been seeing out of Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think you would want to see that, because just like I've been alluding to with Trey is throwing guys open. Trey's giving guys opportunities. Trey is not afraid to let it rip, to try to fit it into any hole. He doesn't. Whereas Jimmy is still hitting short to intermediate in practice. He's still hitting short to intermediate in practice. He's not taking shots. He took one shot yesterday deep downfield and got Brandon Ayuk killed because he underthrew it. So we're not seeing the same things. So I don't think you would want to see Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and Pitts with Jimmy, to be honest, based on what I've seen thus far in practice, because with Pitts, he's another big guy that you need to throw the ball up to. He will be covered at times, and you throw those types of guys open. That's just Jimmy's not strong with that. Jimmy's strong at hitting his first read in timing, but when that first read isn't there, we're still seeing that, like, just indecisiveness. I don't see the confidence that Trey has. I don't see that in Jimmy. Jimmy still feels a bit unconfident with what he's doing. So I don't know. I understand some people think that, but now that I've seen both with my own eyes, and I've seen them 3 days in a row, I wouldn't. I'll be 100% honest, not trying to take a shot or anything. I just really think that they made the correct decision in drafting Trey Lance, and I think that this entire fan base will see that very soon if they have not been able to get to practice. You'll see it. Uh, you can sense it. One of the things that Jason, Jordan, and I keep talking about is Trey Lance feels like the starter. That that doesn't happen. Backups don't feel like the starter. Like the vibe just feels like Trey Lance is the starter. Trey Lance is the one making plays. Trey Lance is the one making everyone go, oh, ah, whoa, wow, great. Like that's what Trey Lance is doing. So again, not it's a difficult decision. It's a difficult situation. We knew Jimmy would have to be perfect. Um, and it just looks like I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I got a text from someone deep in the building, high up, with some information, and they're seeing the same things. They're seeing the same things. So it is coming. It is coming. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. The question isn't will Trey start this year? It's when will Trey start this year? So I've kind of been saying week one for since we drafted him. I've really said week one. I believe Trey Lance will start. And after going to practice for 3 days in a row, I believe Trey Lance will start week one. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo, again, I like Jimmy. I like Jimmy a lot. I just don't see a range of outcome where Jimmy can play better than Trey. And then if you're starting a player who is playing worse off than the player behind him, especially at the quarterback position, that's when you get worried about losing the locker room. So that's the next conversation that we'll be having very soon. I talked about it yesterday. Kyle Shanahan has about this much wiggle room until fans flip. Because right now, we're seeing it. Again, divided fan base over Jimmy, Trey, and we're seeing people in waves see what's happening. We're seeing it happening right in front of our eyes. So, with that being said, it just seems very difficult to be able to say Jimmy's the starter when he's being outplayed by a rookie. And that's when you lose the locker room. That's when guys start picking sides. That's when it's like, all right, well, you're not putting out the best guy. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean for everyone else? So it's really close. We're really close from this being a very divisive issue. And Kyle Shanahan's going to have to make a pretty dramatic decision here pretty soon. So we're pretty close to that. But the point is that based on today, Trey Lance had a really, really strong practice. Again, some wide receivers are stepping up. Some defenders are stepping up. Jimmy is, he had a decent practice. It's not like he threw it. I don't believe he threw any interceptions today. He didn't actually have any really egregious passes today, like he's had in both Monday and Tuesday's practices. So he actually, I believe, probably had one of his better days today, but he still got outshined by Trey Lance. He still didn't feel like the starting quarterback, even though he's the starting quarterback. So we'll see. If you guys are going to Levi's on Saturday, you'll see it up close. We'll see. We'll see. That's pretty much all I got today. I don't want to go on too long. Make sure you guys follow Jason Aponte. Let me see if I got his comment's gone. If you guys are following Jason Aponte on his channel on YouTube, we will be doing a podcast with the Sprint Right auction. I'll be on there, which is a podcast by Jason Aponte and Andrew Pasquini. Those guys are ballers, and Jordan, Elliott, and I will be joining them, and we're going to be talking all things training camp. Again, Jordan and Jason have been there from the beginning of training camp, and we're all just going to hop on and we're just going to start throwing out everything that we're seeing. It's not going to be just my opinion. You're going to be able to get Jordan's opinion. You're going to be able to get Jason's opinion. So I believe that is going at 5:30. Make sure you shoot him a follow and be on the lookout for that, because that's going to be a fire show. So we'll be back again. If you're just hopping on again, of course you can rewatch this episode, but we'll also be back at 5:30 with all three, Jordan, Jason, and myself, to talk about all things training camp. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I appreciate all you guys hopping on, doing the damn thing. I see these numbers in here. I appreciate all you guys. If you're new, of course, please like, subscribe. That helps the page immensely, and we truly, truly appreciate it. And like I said, we'll be back. We got Thursday, which is tomorrow. No practice tomorrow. Jordan, Jason, and myself, we will be back at practice on Friday and Saturday. So we'll be back to cover, again, the last practice before the open stadium practice, and we'll be in stadium to cover that practice. So we've got our eyes on a lot of things this week surrounding the 49ers, and who's standing out and who's stepping up and who's winning and who's losing certain battles. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what comes from this. Again, right guard spot is a spot that we are watching. We just had a new player inserted today that hadn't been there the last 2 days or the previous week, which in Colton McKivitz. So we're going to get a really good idea of some of these position battles. Again, once Jaquiski Tart comes back, him and Tavon Wilson are going to be going at it. So there's some good battles in camp, and I'm excited to see what continues to progress from those. And like I said, we'll be back 5:30 tonight. Join us, Jason Aponte's channel, Sprint Ride Option with Andrew Pasquini, Jason Ponte, Jordan Elliott. Be there or be square. Appreciate all you guys as always. Like that thing, subscribe to that thing. We're to the moon. Been a lot of fun this week. Excited to come back with more coverage later. Appreciate you guys.